Okay, so have you ever thought about, the whole blame thing? Not like the big dramatic finger pointing, but those little ways we kind of sidestep responsibility,
Yeah.
almost without thinking.
Yeah, it's almost second nature sometimes, isn't it? Shifting things around.
Exactly. And it really shapes how we see things, how we react. So today, we're gonna, well, pull back the curtain on that a bit. We're doing a deep dive into this really interesting set of lyrics. They're called Own It, A Call to Responsibility by Alison McLean.
Mm.
And they're not just song lyrics, really. They feel more like a philosophical prompt,
Mm.
really concise way to look at our own agency, and how our inner world connects to the outer world.
That connection is key.
It is. So our mission here is to unpack the ideas in these lyrics, maybe connect them to some psychological concepts, and figure out what it actually means to, well, own it.
And what strikes me right away about McLean's lyrics is how direct they are. No beating around the bush. The opening lines just lay it out. The blame is real. We cannot lie. Passing the buck to another guy. It's just honest. We all recognize that feeling, that impulse.
We do, and it flows right into that next bit, which is, wow, so blunt. Not being responsible for the shit we make, blaming another is a piece of cake.
Uh-huh.
It's almost uncomfortably true, that piece of cake part, the sheer ease of it.
It really is. And, these lines capture something psychologists talk about quite a bit. Things like the fundamental attribution error or maybe the self-serving bias.
Can you unpack that a little?
Sure. Basically, we tend to see other people's mistakes as like part of their character, but our own mistakes, oh, that was situational, bad luck, traffic.
Right. If something goes wrong for me, it's the circumstance. If it goes right, it's my brilliance.
Exactly. So blaming others kind of protects our ego, doesn't it? It's an easy out.
Yeah.
Voids guilt or feeling inadequate.
Yeah.
That's why it's a piece of cake. It takes way less mental energy, less emotional work than actually looking at our own part in things. Self-reflection is harder. Blame makes us feel like, victims of circumstance rather than active players, which feels okay short-term, maybe, but ultimately, it takes away our power.
That's a really important distinction. Comfort versus actual empowerment. Okay, so let's go deeper, because the chorus, that feels like the core message here. It repeats. To take responsibility for a self in play, we would realize what we have created today.
Yes.
That phrase, a self in play, what's that getting at? It sounds so dynamic.
It really does. A self in play suggests we aren't just static beings, right? We're active, we're interacting, constantly changing and shaping things.
Okay.
It makes me think of the psychological concept of locus of control.
Right. Internal versus external.
Exactly. Do we think things happen to us pushed around by external forces? That's an external locus.
Mm-hmm.
Or do we believe we have a hand in our outcomes through our actions or choices?
Yep.
That's internal.
And a self in play points firmly towards the internal locus.
Absolutely. It emphasizes that we're always contributing. Our choices, our thoughts, even the stuff we're not fully aware of, our biases. It's all part of this self in play, constantly active.
So it's like, whether we mean to or not, we're always influencing the game. And that leads straight into the second part. We would realize what we have created today. Whoa.
Yeah.
That connects taking responsibility directly to understanding the results. Not just the results we wanted, but all of it. The unintended stuff, too. This is where it gets into conscious creation, maybe.
Precisely. If we accept we have a self in play, then logically our today, our current reality, isn't just something that washes over us. We're at least partly creating it.
Okay, so it's moving beyond just taking the blame when something goes wrong.
Yes. It's about understanding our power to co-create our experience, seeing the patterns, the links between our choices and what happens next, how our inner state kind of manifests externally.
Can you give an example?
Well, think about a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
If you go into a job interview convinced you'll bomb it, your whole demeanor, your self in play, your nerves, how you answer, maybe even how you interpret the interviewer's neutral expression, it all subtly steers towards that negative outcome you expected. You kind of helped create it.
Right. You inadvertently made it happen.
McLean's lyrics are pushing us to see that, to become aware of it, to shift from just reacting to life, to being more intentional, more proactive. It's about building that sense of self-efficacy, the belief that you actually can influence things, not just endure them.
That's a massive shift in thinking, really empowering. But, I think we can all relate to the fact that it's not always easy to step into that level of responsibility. There's often something in the way.
Definitely.
And the lyrics nail this too. Worrying takes up so much space, leaves us scattered all over the place. It's so true, isn't it? How worry just crowds everything else out, makes it hard to see clearly, let alone act decisively.
That is such a critical point, and it's not just metaphorical space. There's a real neurobiological component here.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
Well, when we're stuck in worry, our sympathetic nervous system kicks in. That's the fight or flight response.
Okay.
And what that does is it pulls resources away from the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of our brain doing the heavy lifting for rational thought, planning, problem solving, seeing long-term consequences.
So worry literally hijacks our thinking brain.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
So when McLean says worry takes up so much space, she's describing how it limits our brain's capacity to deal with complexity, or even just to recognize our own role in a situation. We get scattered because our focus narrows right down to the perceived threat, instead of seeing possibilities for action or agency.
Wow. So worry isn't just a feeling, it's like a cognitive fog machine. Given that, how do we, clear that fog? How do we reclaim that space the lyrics talk about?
Yeah, good question. This is where things like cognitive reframing and mindfulness practices can be incredibly helpful.
Okay, cognitive reframing.
It's about actively challenging those worry thoughts. So instead of, this is definitely going to fail, you consciously reframe it. Okay, this is a challenge. What resources do I have? What's one small step I can take? You challenge the catastrophic thinking.
Right, questioning the narrative and mindfulness.
Mindfulness helps us notice the worry without getting swept away by it.
Yeah.
You observe the thought, there's that worry about the presentation again. Acknowledge it, but don't fuse with it. You create a little distance.
Like stepping back from the worry monster instead of wrestling it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that little bit of space lets the prefrontal cortex come back online. You can think more clearly, act more intentionally, instead of just reacting out of that anxious state. And these aren't just, nice ideas. There's good evidence they help us regain that mental control.
That makes sense. Taking back control of your focus. Now, connecting this back to the lyrics, they seem to take it even deeper. There's this really intriguing bit. The outer world reflects our inner peace. Some may see this as a masterpiece. This feels like it's going beyond just actions and worry. It's about our fundamental inner state, isn't it?
Absolutely. This touches on that fascinating link between our subjective experience, how things feel to us, and the objective world out there.
Okay, but it's not saying we magically create reality with our thoughts, right?
No, not in a literal magical sense. It's more about the psychology of selective attention and cognitive filtering.
How so?
Our internal state, our mood, our beliefs, how much inner calm or turmoil we feel acts like a filter. It shapes what we notice in the world around us.
Ah, I see.
So if you're feeling really agitated or anxious inside, you're probably more likely to notice annoying things, maybe interpret neutral comments negatively. Your filter is set to threat or problem.
Right, you see the world through anxious glasses.
Exactly. But if you're feeling a sense of inner peace, you might notice the good things more easily. You might see opportunities or beauty or connection, even if the external circumstances are challenging. The outer world seems different because your perception of it is different.
So the masterpiece part is about perspective.
It could be. Or maybe how some people, through cultivating inner peace, seem to navigate the world more gracefully, creating a life experience that feels more harmonious. It's also related to projection, unconsciously putting our own feelings onto situations or people.
Okay.
So the lyrics are nudging us to see that while stuff happens out there, how we experience it is deeply tied to what's going on inside us. Working on inner peace isn't just self-care. It actually changes how we perceive and interact with reality.
That's a really important nuance. It shapes our experience of reality.
Okay. And thinking about the structure of the lyrics, Alison McLean really hammers these points home, doesn't she? The chorus repeats, the lines about worry come back.
Yes, and that repetition feels very intentional. It's like a teaching tool, almost like a mantra you'd repeat in meditation, or a core principle you focus on in practice.
To really let it sink in. It's exactly. From a cognitive perspective, we know repetition helps. It helps embed new ways of thinking, create new neural pathways, and shift those ingrained habits of thought, like defaulting to blame or getting stuck in worry. So McLean isn't just telling us these things once. She's asking us to keep them front and center, to make them part of our ongoing awareness. By repeating, worrying takes up so much space, and to take responsibility for a self in play.
Right.
The lyrics encourage this continuous cycle of self-reflection, of owning our part. It's not a one-time fix. It's presented as an ongoing practice, a constant invitation to be more aware.
Wow. Okay, this has been quite the deep dive. Alison McLean's lyrics own it. a call to responsibility. They've really given us a lot to think about.
They pack a punch.
They really do. We've talked about how easy it is to fall into blame, that piece of cake default, and how that actually takes away our power, even if it feels easier.
The comfort trap.
Right. But then we looked at the flip side, the real power in owning that self in play, understanding our locus of control, building self-efficacy, and how that helps us actually realize what we have created today.
Seeing your own agency.
Exactly. And we tackled worry not just as an emotion, but as something that literally takes up mental space, clouds our thinking, and how things like cognitive reframing can help us push back against that.
Reclaiming that focus.
Yeah. And finally, that really deep connection. The outer world reflects our inner peace. Not magic, but psychology, selective attention, cognitive filters shaping our experience of reality.
It's a rich set of ideas in just a few lines.
Absolutely. So for you listening, these ideas aren't just abstract concepts. They offer a really practical framework for looking at your own life, your daily experiences, and understanding the influence you actually have. It's about maybe shifting from feeling like life just happens to you towards recognizing how you participate in creating it. Moving from blame to, well, conscious ownership.
And recognizing that responsibility, as the lyrics suggest, isn't really about carrying guilt. It's more like unlocking the door to understanding your own influence.
Yeah.
It's an invitation, really, to be more mindful of how you show up, what energy you bring, what you choose to focus on and create, moment by moment.
Well said. So as you finish listening and go about your day, here's maybe one final thought to chew on. Something sparked by this deep dive.
Okay.
If taking responsibility for that self in play truly helps us realize what we have created today, think about one situation in your life right now. Maybe something ongoing, positive or negative that you tend to see as mainly caused by external factors. What might that situation tell you about your own self in play if you really tried to apply McLean's idea? If you chose, just for a moment, to truly own it, what subtle parts might you be contributing? Something to think about. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.